Now, let's sew the axolotls' arms. Take out the arms and the main body. Thread the yarn tail onto the sewing needle. We need to sew the arms onto rounds 15 to 16 of the main body. Sew the arms facing forward. Let's start counting. 1, 2. Rounds 15 and 16 are these two rounds. Find the matching spot and insert the needle. Insert the needle from above round 15. Insert diagonally into round 16. Pinch the arm flat and sew it together. Place the arm facing forward. Secure it in this position. Pull the needle out from the matching spot. Check to see if this spot can be sewn. After securing, weave the excess yarn tail back and forth inside the fabric several times. Cut off the excess yarn tail. One arm is sewn. Sew the other arm the same way. Make sure both sides are symmetrical. Both arms are sewn. Next, let's start sewing the legs. Thread the yarn tail onto the sewing needle. The legs need to be sewn onto rounds 21 to 23 of the main body. Leave a gap for stitches in the middle. The last round is round 16. We continue counting down. Round 23. On these 3 rounds, insert the needle here. Start sewing. First, confirm the position. Find the middle position, 2 stitches away from the center. After confirming, sew along the outline. Pay attention to the round numbers while sewing. After sewing, hide the excess yarn inside the fabric. Cut off the excess yarn tail. One leg is now sewn. Sew the other leg the same way. This is how it looks after sewing both legs. Next, sew the tail. Take out the tail. Thread the yarn tail onto the sewing needle. Sew the tail onto the main body from round 20 to round 23. The bottom end of the leg is at round 23. Insert the needle at the middle position on the back side of the fabric along the bottom edge. After locating the corresponding position on the fabric, we sew along the outline. The sewing is completed. Hide the excess yarn inside the fabric. Cut off the excess yarn tail. The tail is now sewn on. Now, start sewing the small gills. Take out the small gills. Thread the yarn tail onto the sewing needle. Sew the small gills onto the main body from round 4 to round 5 and from round 10 to round 11. First, find rounds 4 and 5. Find the positions on both sides of the fabric. Start sewing. Place the extra yarn behind the fabric. Sew the small gill onto the main body. Next, conceal the extra yarn inside the fabric. Cut off the excess yarn tail. Tuck the yarn ends inside the fabric. and neaten it up a bit. Now, sew the other small gill on this side. Sew this small gill onto rounds 10 to 11. This is round 5. That is on these 2 rounds. The gill needs to be sewn along a vertical line. Sew it the same way. Cut off the excess yarn tail. Then hide the other yarn tails the same way. Gently pinch the fabric to adjust its shape. And just like that, the 2 small gills are sewn on. Sew the other 2 small gills on the opposite side using the same method. The 4 small gills have been sewn on. Let's take out the large gills. Thread the yarn tail onto the sewing needle. The large gills need to be sewn onto the main body at round 7 and 8. That is, on the 2 rounds between the 2 small gills. Let's start sewing. Sew them along one line. Cut the yarn tail. Weave the excess yarn back and forth inside the fabric several times. Cut off the excess yarn tail. Everyone hide the yarn tails at the back in the same way. Sew the large gill on the other side, the same way by yourself. The 2 large gills have been sewn on. Next, embroider the mouth. Take out the black yarn. Cut a 10-inch length. One strand of yarn is made up of 4 thinner strands. We only need to take one of those strands. Next, thread the yarn onto the sewing needle. You need to embroider a double U-shaped mouth on round 9 of the main body, between 2 eyes. Insert the needle from the back of the fabric. First, pull it out from any spot on the front. Leave a length of yarn tail at the back. Find round 9. That is, on this round. Insert the needle next to the eye. On the other side, insert the needle next to the eye. Pull the needle out from the middle position. Insert the needle into the same hole. Make sure to place the yarn in the middle. Next, insert the needle diagonally below the eye. Do the same on this side. The mouth is now completed. Weave the excess yarn inside the fabric several times. Cut off the excess yarn tail. Use the sewing needle to gently adjust the embroidered mouth. The axolotl is now fully completed. Please make the other axolotl yourself using the same method.